Welcome back to the channel, guys. We have got the Australian Grand Prix today, lots to look forward to, and yeah, well, I mean, qualifying is going to be very interesting around this circuit. Of course, it is a street circuit, so action will always be guaranteed. And yeah, we are now 12 minutes away from qualifying starting. Sorry if I sound a little bit low energy compared to usual. Currently it is 5:45 a.m. In the UK, so I am slightly less energetic than usual. Yeah, I woke up 13 minutes ago and I forgot to set an alarm, so I'm very lucky that I actually woke up in time for the stream. But you know, here we are. So yeah, let's quickly just edit this so it looks like it's actually correct. Yeah, it's 1 a.m. here. Yeah, I mean, timing's pretty weird, but usually, if we're being honest, the Australian fans, you've got to give it up for them. Those guys get up at, like, they have 1 a.m. races basically every weekend. So it's frankly incredible that they well, watch any of the races, to be honest. So yeah, props to the Australian fans that usually watch the streams. Right. Yeah, I'll definitely be ready for actual race day, because I will have got used to the sleep schedule by then. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about what's actually happening on track. So this weekend we've had quite a lot of offs. Nobody's actually had a big like collision with the wall or anything. Everyone has been doing just fine in terms of not actually getting any sort of damage. But we have had lots of offs. Turn 1, we had Leclerc, Perez, I think Hulkenberg, all go off. Perez struggling especially, in fact. Turn 1, turn 14, he's very much been struggling, locking up at loads of different places. So yeah, we'll see how he manages in qualifying today. But of course, the driver who won last week's Grand Prix, not faring so well this weekend. We'll see how he does, though. Obviously qualifying still yet to go, so he hasn't been great in the practice sessions, but obviously that's still practice, and it's practice for a reason. So yeah, all right. Let's see what else has been happening. Oh, there was a GPS failure, in fact, on the track. I think it was, yeah, there was a GPS failure in FP1. So all of the teams nearly, like, all of the drivers and teams nearly, like, started driving into each other because none of them had the GPS. Oh, the once I refresh it, it'll fix all of the colors. Let's have a quick refresh. Yeah, there you go. Right, everyone's got their colors back. Okie dokie. Right, so we're now 9 minutes away from quali starting. Why is the map always not as clear as it has been? I've switched up to using a different map because FOM has been, like, deleting a whole bunch of streams, and I'm not sure exactly why they have been, or what the reason is. So I'm just trying to be a little bit more careful than I usually am. So I'm using a different map, just in case, so my stream doesn't get deleted. That's the plan. So yeah. What is my prediction? Well, I'm going to predict that we're going to have a Red Bull 1-2. I know, very, very crazy prediction. And then I'd love to see Fernando Alonso in third. But I think the Ferraris have a lot more pace than expected this weekend. So I'm going to say Ferraris are in third and fourth. So yeah, that's what my prediction is. I think Ferraris are going to be going. Ferraris are going to be second fastest, Aston Martins are going to be third fastest, and then we're going to have the Mercedes behind that, but behind those teams, yeah. So that's the plan. That's what I think the predictions are, but you know, who knows what happens in qualifying. We could see some drivers have some issues, or anything like that. So yeah. All right. We have 150 people watching. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. The map is slightly different to usual, guys. I've had to change it up because of the FOM banning a whole bunch of streams. I'm still like on the lookout, just checking if they're banning anyone because well, yeah, it's not ideal because obviously if I get my stream deleted, then it's a pretty big like no. I'm not sure exactly how to put it, but yeah, the map's different because of FOM. I'll stop talking about it that much, but I presume there'll be a lot of questions about it, so yeah. All right. Well, further up the circuit, we have Alpine. Ocon in third place after FP3, actually doing a very good job there. Pierre Gasly also up in fifth place, so Alpine looking pretty strong. And in fact, if we remember back to last year, Fernando Alonso was actually very close to getting onto the front row with Alpine, but he had a hydraulic failure like three quarters of the way through the lap. So yeah, Fernando Alonso and Alpine, in fact, go very well around this circuit. We saw Fernando Alonso go like purple in the middle sector last year, and this wasn't like a random purple where other teams like were driving slowly or something. This was Fernando Alonso actually driving that fast and getting a purple. So yeah, it was very nice there from Fernando Alonso. We'll see what he can do, and yeah, that's what I've got to say really. Who else is there? I mean, to be honest, everyone's had their little issues. Nick DeVries had a part of his car just fall apart on the circuit and then put up a whole bunch of debris before like turn 9, which is one of the highest speed corners. So yeah, that wasn't ideal. But then we've had, well, in fact, let's just go down. Verstappen's had an off. Verstappen spun at turn number 4 because he went over the curb and just pushed a little bit too hard. Then we had Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso hasn't had any sort of issues as far as I can remember. Neither has Ocon. Russell, I think, got caught up in traffic, got stuck behind Stroll. This wasn't during the GPS failure, this was just during normal running. And it is a street circuit. It does get very, very narrow at times. So traffic, once again, will be another issue to look out for and see how the teams deal with that. And then we have Pierre Gasly, who has been doing all right, actually. He's been keeping up with Esteban Ocon, which has been a very, very respectable, who's a very respectable driver, going at a pretty quick pace, to be honest, because he was keeping it. Ocon was faster than Alonso last year. Admittedly, there was a lot of reliability issues for Alonso, but nevertheless, Ocon was still doing a great job. And yeah, all right. What else has been happening? Let's see. We have Hamilton. Ooh, actually, this is interesting. The two Mercedes drivers they've kind of split off their little strategies. I mean, in terms of their setup, Russell has gone one path down the setup and Hamilton has gone down another path. Both of them are happy with their setup, but it's just a little bit interesting because usually you have both drivers going on a similar setup, and then obviously the teams have two sets of data from each driver. But then with Mercedes, now they've split both of their drivers, and both of the drivers are very happy about it. Like Russell is like, my setup is much better than whatever Hamilton's got. Hamilton's like, my setup is much better than whatever Russell's got. So it's good that both of the drivers are happy with the setup, but they aren't getting double sets of data as they usually would to cross-check and reference all of that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. We'll see how they deal with that because, yeah, I mean, I presume Mercedes will be absolutely fine because they have an abundance of data and knowledge. But yeah, here we are, round number 3 at Australia, 3 minutes away from the start of qualifying. And in fact, I think one of the only races that we have actually in the Oceania region. Circuit is 5.3 kilometers, 3.2 miles. The driver spends 70% of the lap at full throttle, 14 turns, of course, and top speed at 325 kilometers an hour. Going down, I presume it's turn number, yeah, just going down the start finish straight. The tire compounds, as usual, the C4, the C3, and the C2 from the Pirelli range. And how many pit stops is ideal? Well, usually there's only a one stop. You could pull off a two stop depending on how high tire wear is, but usually it's a one stop race. But yeah, anyway, we're here for qualifying today. So yeah, that's what it is. It is cloudy weather in Australia, not raining, not very sunny, so track temperature isn't particularly high. In fact, it's 21 degrees track temperature, 14 degrees air temperature. So it's not too hot, not too cold. The drivers probably will struggle a little bit from like issues with warming up those tires to the correct temperature, but nothing too difficult for the drivers. Of course, they have all of the tools in the world to make sure those tires are in the correct window before starting their flying lap. Hello, Oscar. Greetings from New Zealand. Well, I presume this the time zone must be pretty nice, since you are, well, right next to Australia. Yeah, good evening from Canada. I don't know what the time it must be, because Canada, oh, I don't know, it might be like the day before in Canada. But anyway, 1 minute 15 seconds now till qualifying starts, and there's a green light at the end of the pit lane. Are you watching from the UK? Yes, I am watching from the UK. Yeah. All right. Also, we did have a wet FP2 session, which meant that the drivers haven't been able to get all of the long run data. So in FP3, we saw a couple of drivers going on fast runs, a couple of drivers going on short runs, and like quali simulations. So yeah, there's been another split from the teams of one driver's going out to do data gathering, another driver's going out to do quali sims, but yeah. Also, just like to point out, like the Constructors' Championships, Red Bull has got 87 points. Both Aston Martin and Mercedes have got 38 points, sorry, and then Ferrari has got 26. So, yeah, it's not. What am I saying? Yeah, Red Bull just have Red Bull are just dominating. They've got double both Aston Martin and Mercedes. So we'll see if that domination continues. But we are now 5 seconds away from qualifying beginning. Drivers will start coming out on the track very, very soon. And it is a green light for Q1. All right. Yeah, the map is slightly different, but it's just something we're going to have to live with because of FOM doing FOM things. And yeah, as like if we go like this weekend without any streams being deleted or anything, then I will switch back to the normal map. It's just that, yeah, I can't be certain. I don't want my stream getting deleted because then you guys miss out on all of the commentary, and obviously I don't want my like YouTube channel getting into jeopardy either. So yeah, that is the reasoning behind not putting up the usual map. But nevertheless, we have Alex Albon coming out onto the circuit, Nick De Vries, Logan Sargent coming out onto the circuit, and then next up we have the two AlphaTauris behind him, so Nick De Vries and Yuki Tsunoda all coming out onto circuit. Good morning, Seapaul. How are you guys doing? And yeah, we have the rest of the grid also coming out. Kevin Magnussen, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Nico Hulkenberg, all the drivers coming out, getting ready, getting those tires warmed up before they start their flying lap. All right. So here we go then. My stream did not get taken down last race in Saudi, but there were a couple other streams that did get taken down. The people whose stream did get taken down, they emailed FOM and no response, so it's a bit uncertain of why they did what they did. So we don't really know what caused it, and that's a bit of a problem. But you know, anyway, let's ignore that. We have drivers now going around the circuit, and let's look at these laps. And so Alex Albon, first driver, starting his he started his flying lap, going down through now the middle sector, going towards turn number 9 and 10, one of the fastest parts on the circuit, in fact. And yeah, just a little dab of the brakes, flick the car left, flick the car right, and you deal with that section very nicely indeed. Alex Albon does exactly that, and yeah, makes his way through now into the final sector, where turn number 13, sorry, one of the trickiest corners on the entire circuit, because you've just come out of a very medium speed corner, but then you haven't got a lot of time before you have to hit the brakes once again for the slowest corner on the circuit, and then yeah, getting traction out of the corner, not locking up, getting active rotation, all of that stuff is very, very difficult out of that corner. So makes his way nicely through there. So does Logan Sargent, and comes across the line of 1 minute 26.4. Logan Sargent 1 minute 27.1. Then we have Yuki Tsunoda crossing the line 128.6. Bottas 120.5. So it looks like everyone else was going for a semi warm-up lap or something, because yeah, that lap time significantly slower than usual. Yeah, with the track temperatures being 21 degrees, it is fairly cold out here, so it looks like they are just doing a bit of a build-up lap before they go for their maximum attack, just getting that temperature into those tires, because otherwise you are freezing. Well, the outside of your tires will be very hot, but if your core isn't hot, it's going to be very difficult to actually get lots of grip. So yeah, all right, so we got Magnussen up in first position as of now, with the 119.4, and then we have Lando Norris right behind him with a 119.5. Let's see what Hülkenberg can do. Hülkenberg, well, they're going to go around again and set another lap, so we'll wait and see what happens. We have a yellow flag on the circuit. It looks like Logan Sargent has spun. Yeah, but he's once again moving, so that is fine. Yeah, Logan Sargent spun on the final corner of the circuit, and that's why we had a yellow flag. But he didn't hit any barriers, didn't hit anything, just going along normally. So yeah, we are good to continue qualifying. Alex Albon now crosses the line 1 minute 19.9. Hülkenberg goes across the line, goes 1 full second than Magnussen. We saw this a couple of weeks ago. I mean, Nico Hülkenberg is an absolute rocket ship in qualifying. Past 2 qualifying sessions, he's been basically destroying Kevin Magnussen in qualifying. In race trim, both cars aren't very quick, and they both end up going further back the field. But yeah, K-Mag is not K-Mag, sorry, Hülkenberg is an absolute rocket ship in quali. Fastest first sector, fastest third sector, and fastest lap overall. Of course, the rest of the grid is still yet to come out, but as they do, in fact, look at this, everyone is going for warm-up laps. We've got Verstappen, Alonso, Perez, Leclerc, all of them going for warm-up laps as far as I can tell, or they're just on their out lap. Well, I guess we'll see. Yeah, Verstappen looks like he is going for a warm-up lap. Oh, we've got another yellow flag. What's caused this? Sergio Perez has spun at turn number 4, and now we have a red flag, in fact, because of that. Sergio Perez has spun at turn number 4. I presume is either, well, made some sort of significant damage to the track, or completely lost control. But yeah, let's have a quick look. I'll find out in just a second what happened, but I definitely know it's Sergio Perez. It's at turn number 4, and yeah, he's into the barriers. His car is stuck, so they're gonna have to get the car out before they can restart the session. He is stuck in the gravel. So yeah, once again, another mistake from Sergio Perez. We actually saw quite a lot of mistakes from him in practice. Turn 1, turn 13. Admittedly, they're all tricky corners, but Sergio Perez is beached at turn number 4 after crashing the car. It looks like he's got a little bit of front wing damage, which isn't great, but yeah, front wing can be easily replaced. He hasn't damaged any other part of the car, so he locks up going into turn number 3, and then tries to get out of the gravel trap and just cannot get out of the gravel trap. He's had an awful lot of lockups, if we're being honest. Going through turn number 13, locked up like 3 times in one practice session. Really wasn't great, to be honest. And then now, in fact, he hasn't damaged his front wing. He broke just before the barriers. So yeah, no damage to his front wing, but admittedly still a fair amount of, well, I presume some sort of collateral damage because of the fact that he has just binned his car into a whole bunch of gravel. Yeah. All right. What's with this new map? Well, this new map was actually the original map. The original map that I used back in like 2020, I think, and 2021, and then I think I switched in 2022. But yeah, this is the original map that I used. I don't know. We'll probably have some sort of vote at some later stage on to which map is better. But yeah. All right. Sergio Perez is out of the car. They have got the lorry right over to his car, and they will just be picking it up and taking it back to the garage. I think that should give Sergio Perez enough time to get back to the pits. But yeah. Oh, I definitely will change. I might change back to the original map. It just depends on FOM really, because they have been banning some sort of they've been banning streams basically, and I just want to watch out and not get banned kind of thing. So that's all I can really say. I don't particularly want to get banned, so that is why I am just being slightly careful as to what is happening. As like what maps I'm using and whatnot. So there we go. All right. Ooh. Right, his car has been picked up by the lorry, by the crane, sorry, and they are taking it off to the side of the circuit to be taken back to the pits. Sergio Perez should be able to get in one more quali lap and not be eliminated out of Q1, but it really depends how quickly they resume the session and how quickly the lorry can get back to the pit lane. But usually in these sort of situations, when you do have 12 minutes left on the clock, it should be totally fine for Sergio Perez to get out and do another lap. Gonna take a shot every time you hear me yawn. Well, I apologize for that, but you're gonna be very drunk by the end of the session because it's currently, it's 6 a.m. And I've been awake for the last half an hour, and usually I usually get up at 7 a.m. I'm not much of a late sleeper, but yeah, 6 a.m. is still just one hour earlier than usual. So I'm a bit sleepy, and I haven't had any coffee or anything to keep me awake because I'm planning on finishing the stream and going back to sleep again. But we'll see how that goes, because I think it'll be bright by the time the stream ends. So there we are. Yeah, McLaren doing all right, but I suspect that's because everyone else hasn't set a representative lap time. Yeah, because if you do look at the lap times, you've got Hülkenberg in the 118s. And then you've got Max Verstappen and everyone else below him in the 135s. So that's 17 seconds behind. They were all doing a warm-up lap and then got a bit screwed over by the fact that when Perez just went and binned it into the barriers. Well, into the gravel trap. So, yeah. All right, session is restarting in 2 minutes. We've just had word from the FIA. So session restarting in 2 minutes, and then we will be going racing. All right, post-stream nap, going back to bed after. Yeah, indeed, post-stream nap. Streaming is very tiring. In fact, I need to, oh no, my water bottle's right here. In fact, no, it wasn't Gasly that binned it, it was Sergio Perez that binned it. Going into turn number 3, just locked up and then just went straight on base. Well, not straight on, but he tried to make the corner and completely failed, and then went into the gravel trap. I mean, that's the thing about Australia here. Usually at other circuits we've got miles and miles of runoff, but Australia, basically any sort of issue, well, any sort of mistake that you make, you will be punished, because there is gravel basically everywhere. There's gravel, grass, and barriers. So any sort of mistake that you do make, you will be punished. So, you know, it's good in that sense, but then of course in another sense we have lots of red flags, and we have drivers waiting around to set a lap. But the pit lane will be open in like 30 to 30 seconds, 40 seconds or something. All of the drivers now just queuing up at the end of the pit lane, getting ready to go racing. Sergio Perez getting a little motorbike ride back to the pits, and his car will be getting a motor car ride. Well, is that how you say it? Like a lorry, like a, I don't know. His car's getting a lorry ride back to the pits, and Sergio Perez is on a scooter back. We'll see if his car can be recovered. Hopefully it can be in time. But yeah, I mean, it very much did look like his front right tire got like hit by a banana, because yeah, it just was not unlocking. I think he came off the brakes at like completely by the looks of it, because he didn't slow down that much, but his front right tire was still like locking up. So very strange there from Sergio Perez. Usually you don't see like such big lockups from the teams, but from the drivers. But yeah, all right, the green flag is out, and we are once again go for racing. Timer is ticking down. Drivers have come out onto the circuit. You'll see them on the map very shortly. We got the Ferraris out, the Red Bulls coming out. Well, basically everyone, because they all want to set a lap and not get damaged. Yeah. Hulkenberg is better than Magnussen in my opinion. Well, if I'm going to be honest, looking at the timings as well, it's pretty clear that Hulkenberg is quicker than Magnussen, especially in all of the qualifying sessions. He's beaten him in the past too, but it's not just been like a narrow margin, it's been pretty significant margin. So Nico Hulkenberg doing a solid job there. Now all the drivers now back onto the circuit. We got Verstappen, Alonso, Stroll, Albon, Sainz, Leclerc, Norris, and Piastri. Everyone has come out onto the circuit and will be getting ready to set their flag laps. Also guys, we got 750 people watching. If you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Definitely does help out the channel. And I do stream. I will be streaming tomorrow's race as well, and I will also be streaming all of the other races and qualifying sessions for the rest of the season. So if you are enjoying, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, really. All right. So that's my little plug out of the way. We got Max Verstappen starting his lap. We'll see if he's on a full push lap. Can't 100% tell just as of yet. The track is 100% dry. There is no rain, but it isn't particularly hot either. It's not particularly windy. 1.2 meters per second wind conditions. So yeah, not windy whatsoever, but track temperature is only 22 degrees, which is very, very low for Albert Park in Australia. Usually we have track temperatures in the area of 35, 40 degrees. So, you know, it's something different for the teams to deal with, but it's nothing that they haven't seen before. Of course, they've been racing at so many different circuits at so many different times of the year. Right. Arshad Malik says, I have a very important question for you to answer. Well, go ahead. Let me know what that question is. All right. Let's see. Max Verstappen looks like he is on a push lap. Fastest middle sector from him now comes across the final corner and now crosses the line up into first place, goes 0.3 faster than Hulkenberg. So it wasn't even that much faster than I'm sorry, Verstappen is even that much faster compared to Hulkenberg. So I'm just saying that's a mega lap from Nico Hulkenberg. It's not that Verstappen's particularly slow. Nico Hulkenberg is just absolutely rapid. And the same can be said for... Oh, it looks like track conditions have got slightly worse. Because, well, we see both of the Aston Martins also slower than the Haas. Now, unless like Hulkenberg sets a mega lap here, I suspect track conditions have got slightly worse. Who is the GOAT at football? Well, I mean, I don't particularly watch that much football, but if I was to say anyone, I would say Messi. I know it's between like Messi and Ronaldo, but yeah, I guess I support Messi. All right, so back onto the circuit, we've got the two Ferraris on used sets of softs. Same can be said for the two Mercedes drivers and Fernando Alonso. Stroll isn't on a used set, but yeah, we have quite a few drivers on a used set of tires. So that explains like the little bit of mismatch in like lap times, is because of some drivers being on used sets of tires and some drivers being on fresh sets. Yeah. Adnan Zaki, what do I do? I'm a student, yeah, at university, so that's what I do. Right. 7 minutes left of the quali session, and we have got we've got Max Verstappen in first place, Alex Albon in second place. This is very, very strange. You definitely did not think we'd be seeing a Williams up here. Then we got Carlos Sainz in third place. It's not like, where has this lap time come from Alex Albon? I have no idea. He's fastest in the second sector, which is totally fair for the Williams. The second sector is basically just one corner and then a whole long straight. And the Williams are very fast in straights. So there we go. That's to be expected. The Alex Albon is fastest in the middle sector. Well, not to be expected, but it's reasonable to say that Alex Albon's fastest in the middle sector. It's like, it's understandable why that is the case. But I still don't understand how he's less than a tenth faster, less than a tenth slower than Max Verstappen. That is, yeah. And same can be said for Nico Hulkenberg. He's only 3 tenths behind there. Right, Fernando Alonso is on a flyer. Purple first sector, green middle sector, and here he comes now through turn number 12, then turn number 13, locking up here very, very easy. Does not lock up though. Rotates the car very nicely, pulls his way all the way to the left-hand side, gets a great exit out the final corner, and here he comes now across the line. Does come Fernando Alonso, 2 tenths faster than Max Verstappen, a 117.8 from the Spanish driver. Nicely done there from Fernando. And now I think he's done that on a fresh set of tires. Let's have a quick check what tires everyone is on. But I Verstappen is now, in fact, Verstappen's done that on five lap old tires. Fernando Alonso set that time on 6 lap old tires. So it looks like everyone is on a whole range of tires here, with Hulkenberg on fresh sets, and then we got Verstappen and Alonso on 6 lap old tires. It's, yeah, very interesting. All right. We've just hit 1,000 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the like button. Definitely does help out the channel. But getting back to the racing, Fernando Alonso is now 3 tenths behind Max Verstappen, and Stroll is 3 tenths behind Fernando Alonso. Then we've got a pretty closely fought battle, in fact, from Stroll in 3rd place all the way down to Hulkenberg in 8th place. There's only what, 4 tenths. Oh no, sorry, 2 tenths, 3 tenths of a gap between 3rd and 8th place. So it's pretty hotly contested up there in the top couple of spots. Sergio Perez, no sign of his car getting back to the pits as of yet. So we could potentially see Sergio Perez getting eliminated from Q1 because of his earlier mistake. It's everything dry. There is no rain. We did have rain in FP2. Sergio Perez has just got back into the pits, in fact, on that motorbike that I was talking about a couple of minutes ago. He's just got back into the pits. So, well, we're still yet to have seen if the car has been delivered yet. But with only 4 minutes left on the clock, it's going to be pretty tight for Perez if the car does get delivered. Because I suspect the teams are going to have to do a little bit of checks, obviously do a little bit of refueling as well, and then what? oh yeah, clear out any gravel and check if there's any gravel in any of the intakes or anything, and then go back out racing. So it's going to be, yeah, a little bit uncertain as to if Sergio Perez is going to get out onto the circuit. But everyone else, let's have a look how they're doing. We got loads of people on flying laps, in fact. So let's just take a look now. Who's coming across the line? We got Valtteri Bottas coming across the line. He is starting a flying lap. Oh no, Bottas has just finished a flying lap. 1 minute 18.8, still in 17th place. Not ideal from the Finnish driver. Let's see what else is going on the circuit. We have got Hulkenberg up in 5th position. Sainz crosses the line, goes up into 4th. Leclerc is stuck in a little bit of traffic there. It's getting pretty cramped up here in the first sector. At the end of the first sector, there are so many drivers that are just queued up. It is, yeah, traffic paradise, as someone would say, as a certain F1 driver would say. Perez did go into the gravel though. No, Perez can go back in his car if it has been towed in, I think, but yeah, the car hasn't actually been delivered to the pits yet, so it cannot, yeah, well, he can't drive the car if it hasn't been delivered to the pits yet. It was raining in the practice sessions. In FP2 it was raining, so yeah, the teams lost a little bit of time like collecting data at that point, but it wasn't too significant. And in fact, they actually got their first time driving in wet conditions in this year's cars, because of course we had testing in Bahrain, and then the race in Bahrain and race in Saudi Arabia. No sign of rain whatsoever in any of those countries. So yeah, the teams actually finally got to test some of the wet weather driving of the cars, which has been pretty decent. Nothing unexpected, to be honest, and yeah. All right, Hamilton sets a lap up into second place, 3/10 behind Max Verstappen. This is what we expected here. We saw, well, in fact, I expected the Ferraris to be slightly closer, but, well, in fact, both Ferraris are starting on a flying lap, so let's not say anything just as of yet. But the two Mercedes drivers are very close to Fernando Alonso in terms of pace, and that is to be expected. The Aston Martins and the Mercs, they're both, well, tied on points in the Constructors' Championship, and they both have a pretty similar car. Mercedes brought, I think, a couple of upgrades this weekend. I'm not sure exactly which upgrades, but they do have a couple of upgrades, and they have been managing to keep up with the Aston Martins this weekend. So we'll see how they cope in the race conditions and in the further qualifying sessions. But for now, they are matching Fernando Alonso in terms of pace. Also, I'd just like to point out, everyone is on a used set of tyres. It's extremely strange here. Usually we see drivers going out on fresh sets, well, very, very often in quali sessions, but I think what is important, I don't know exactly why the teams are going for used sets. It's quite strange, to be honest. I did notice in the practice sessions, drivers were going faster in, like, on their second and third lap, which might be due to tire warm-up issues, or like related to tire warm-up. So drivers and teams still going out, like Sainz is setting his quali lap on 9-lap old soft tires, which is something that you definitely do not see. Yeah, Perez is eliminated. He didn't come out in time, so that's to be expected. Let's see who is in the elimination zone now. We have Zhou, Sargent, Piastri, Bottas, and Perez. Of course, Perez can't do much about his. But we do have, well, let's see, Piastri's crossed the line already, 118.5, so it's not, well, Piastri's has been eliminated from Q1, which isn't great. Then we have Bottas and Zhou, who are currently on flying laps, I think. No, Bottas is not on a flying lap, I don't think. He has aborted his flying lap attempt, so there we go. Bottas is out of Q1, and Guan Yu Zhou, by the looks of it, is also, yeah, he aborted his lap as well. So that has been the elimination zone, unless Logan Sargent can pull himself out, which I don't think he can, because he has also crossed the line. The elimination zone is Oscar Piastri, Guan Yu Zhou, Logan Sargent, Valtteri Bottas, and Sergio Perez. So another week, another Red Bull getting eliminated early. We'll see how that plays out. We could see Fernando Alonso on the front row again, but the Mercedes cars look pretty quick, to be honest here. So we'll see how that goes for the Aston Martin team and the Brackley team. All right. Are there any advantages gained for Red Bull with Perez in P20? Well, I think they could take a couple of grid penalties, but the thing is, it's too late in the weekend to do that now, because if they did want to take a grid penalty, they'd have to do it in the practice sessions. If they are to like replace the engine now, then they will start from the pit lane, which isn't too different to starting in 20th place. But yeah, so Sergio Perez they could modify the setup a little bit to be like more race oriented, because usually it's whenever you set up an F1 car, you can either set it up for qualifying or you can set it up for the race. There's two slightly different setups for slightly different conditions, and then each team has their own little balance of going, okay, we're going to be faster in quali and slower in the race, we're going to be slower in the race, faster in quali. Like, it's all so the teams have their own little balance. But then if what Red Bull can do now is they can be like, okay, well, we know Perez, he's in 20th place, we might as well modify the setup a little bit so he is faster in the race conditions compared to all of the other teams, and then he'll be able to go up the places. So that's one strategy that they could take, but I suspect there isn't too much point in doing that. So yeah. All right, let's just switch this over to Q2, which will be starting very, very shortly. All right. So I mean, nothing extra, like, it was all pretty expected, to be honest. Seeing Logan Sargent get eliminated, of course, he's a rookie season, and he was admittedly like 0.6 slower than Alex Albon, which is a pretty significant gap, to be honest. But street circuit, like Australia being a street circuit, you don't want to push too hard, like spin out, make a whole bunch of damage to your car. So Logan Sargent 0.6 slower. We'll see how he does in a couple of races time, but yeah, he's still settling into Formula One, kind of like, we've only had, this is third race of the year, so yeah. All right, and then we have Oscar Piastri, who is, 0.3 slower than Lando Norris, so not as bad. Of course, that McLaren car is not great, so yeah, he's been eliminated as well. And then the two Alfa Romeos, I mean, the Alfa Romeos haven't been that quick this year, and they don't look to be getting any faster or anything. They're kind of just, well, getting eliminated consistently out of Q1, which is not great. So yeah. All right, what else is going on the circuit? Well, nothing too surprising here. We still have Hülkenberg a 10th faster than Magnussen. Surprisingly, we do have Sainz faster than Leclerc. Usually it's the other way around, but Sainz is putting up a decent fighting here. And we'll see how he manages for the remainder of the quali sessions. Also, Fernando Alonso, I mean, Stroll, in fact, very close to Fernando Alonso. Usually we see there's a fair gap between the two drivers of the Aston Martin car, but this weekend round we are seeing Stroll is, well, significantly closer to Fernando Alonso than expected, which is great, because we don't want just Fernando Alonso scoring all of the points for Aston Martin. Admittedly, it would be great if Fernando Alonso went and got a podium every single weekend, but it's, yeah, pretty important for Aston Martin as a team to have Lance Stroll be close to Alonso in terms of pace, and that's exactly what he's gone and done. So that is wonderful. All right, when does Q2 start? Q2 starts in, I suspect, 2 or 3 minutes now. Not too long. Well, I mean, Stroll's wrist haven't completely healed. Of course, once you break a bone, it doesn't heal in like a couple of weeks straight away. And yeah, there's a little bit of like, of course, like a little bit of dull pain still for him, but it's definitely a lot better than the first two weekends of the year. So yeah, definitely improved, and you could probably, it's not as much of a factor anymore. like in the first couple of weekends, it was a factor. Like you had to take that into account. And of course, his wrists were basically like completely damaged. But at this point, you can just leave it, and it's just like a thing that you kind of forget about now. All right, so yeah, Perez beats the car at turn number 3. He locked up, then went straight on into the gravel, and then tried to turn the car around, and couldn't turn the car around without risking breaking his front wing. So that's what happened there. How's the weather looking on the circuit? It is cloudy as ever in Australia, which isn't, well, not as ever. It's as cloudy as the UK, basically, in Australia. But track temperature is 23 degrees, air temperature is 15 degrees. So no rain, and there hasn't been rain expected. So, yeah. It's just been just dry conditions as expected. We're going to have QUALI Q2 starting in, well, in fact, right now, in probably 10-15 seconds. Well, as I say that, Nick de Vries comes out the pit lane and the timer starts ticking down. So Q2 has begun. Yeah, broken bones take a good while, and yeah, tore your right ACL twice. God, that is, yeah. Well, I mean, your ACL doesn't, I think ACL is like one of the few tendons that doesn't heal, or it takes ages to heal or something. But yeah, that is pretty rough. All right, drivers now coming out of the pit lane. We've got, well, yeah, loads of drivers coming out, just trying to get in a lap in early, because of course, once you are at a street circuit, any little mistake and that could basically put out a yellow flag, red flag, ruins your entire lap. So all the drivers going out quite early to set a banker lap as of sorts. So we've got the Ferraris out on fresh sets of tires. So it's good here. We're actually seeing fresh sets of tires. It's very strange seeing like 10 lap old tires in quality. You never really see that. But yeah, I suspect when Pirelli did pick the tires, they were expecting like the usual Australian weather, which is like 35 degrees, 40-degree track temperature. But yeah, they're not getting that. They're getting like half of it. So not ideal for from the Pirelli standpoint, but their tires are pretty durable, pretty like, well, they can deal with basically everything, so it should be all right. And the teams, of course, they have all of the tricks up their sleeve to manage tire temperatures and stuff like that, so they're doing just a-okay. All right. So let's see who is out on that. Well, we've got Nick de Vries out in at the front. Then we've got the 2 Ferraris behind him. So let's take a look at these Ferrari lap times. Are they going to, I don't think they're like 100% pushing. We'll have to find out, because I don't, yeah, the Ferraris weren't pushing like as in the Ferraris were doing a warm-up lap before. They weren't doing like a full send lap from the start. And yeah, if we do look at the lap times, Ferrari aren't going full send. They're going 3 seconds slower than usual in the first sector, so they're doing a bit of a warm-up lap before they get going. And yeah, track temperature and air temperature, a bit of an issue, because yeah, very different to what they expected. But back to the let's see if anyone else is actually setting a flying lap. By the looks of it, everyone has gone for the approach of, I'm going to warm up my tires, apart from Fernando Alonso. Purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector. Of course, he will be going purple because nobody else has actually set a time yet. But nevertheless, we've got Fernando Alonso going very quickly through turn number 12, 13 now. Yeah, rotates that car very nicely. It's going to get a little bit of a slipstream off Charles Leclerc as well, which is nicely timed there. Fernando Alonso now comes across the line, 1 minute 17.6. So that's a very respectable and fast lap time there from the Aston Martin driver. We'll see what everyone else can do. We had a little flash of a yellow flag, but I suspect, yeah, it's gone back to green. So let's just act like that didn't happen. And everyone else, and Stroll in fact goes marginally faster than Fernando Alonso, 0.6 faster. So Stroll doing a great job there, keeping up with Fernando Alonso. In fact, this time beating him as well. But that pace is very much short-lived. We got a purple first sector from Charles Leclerc. Now we have Carlos Sainz coming, yeah, only marginally slower than Charles Leclerc. So both Ferraris looking very quick and looking quicker than the Aston Martins, which is what I predicted. But we'll wait and see. The data also predicted that. The guys who did the data analysis on the practice sessions, they said the Ferraris were about 0.3 faster than the Astons, but that's still yet to have seen. We're still in the quali sessions. 2 purple sectors from Charles Leclerc. Both sectors going only marginally faster than the Aston Martins, but nevertheless faster is faster, and all of this time is adding up. And here he comes now out of the final corner, down the start finish straight, opens the DRS, comes across the line, and goes 0.5 tenth faster than Lance Stroll. So the Ferrari is not as fast as expected according to the data from the practice sessions, and we've got Leclerc up in first place, Carlos Sainz down in 4th place. 2 tenths gap between those two drivers, and between the Aston Martin drivers we've got a gap of 0.5 tenth. So it's very, very quick indeed. Both, yeah, Ferrari and Aston Martin closely matched, and we'll see what happens in the upcoming laps. But now we have Max Verstappen out on a flying lap. He's purple through the first sector, green through the middle sector, and in fact, only Alex Albon goes purple in the middle sector, 3 milliseconds faster than Max Verstappen. So yeah, that Williams is very quick through the middle sector, but I think that's about it really. And then we got now Verstappen coming across the line up into first place, 3 tenths ahead of Charles Leclerc. Basically just no competition whatsoever. He's just like, cool, I'll just set a quick lap and now I'm just going to pull my way into the pits. Don't have to try too hard, don't have to do anything really. And yeah, 3.5 tenths ahead of the competition. Pretty significant gap there from the Red Bulls. I mean, Red Bull do have a significant amount of dominance, that is to be expected. But yeah, Nico Hülkenberg, wow, what a lap from Nico Hülkenberg. I don't know how he does this. I mean, unless there's some significant track evolution going on, which I don't think there is. Nico Hülkenberg has been, yeah, absolutely flying lately. Let's see, K-Mag. I mean, K-Mag is, what, nearly a full second behind him? Yeah, K-Mag is 1 full second slower than Nico Hülkenberg, so I don't know how he's done this. But Alex Albon as well, fastest in the middle sector, and seems to be going through into Q3, as JKS points out, in the top 10. Admittedly, there is still Hamilton, Russell's just at his lap now into 7th and 8th place, pushing Albon down into 9th, but we got the 2 Mercedes drivers now in 7th and 8th position. So Mercedes were aiming for 5th place. That's what their like aim was, but Nico Hülkenberg is up in 5th place, and I did not expect to be saying that. Sergio Perez got eliminated. He locked up, went into the gravel, and then they couldn't recover the car in time to go out for another lap. So that is why Sergio Perez is out. But yeah, Fernando Alonso definitely did nail it. Also, we have nearly 1,300 people watching. If you are enjoying the stream, guys, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help out the channel. And I will be streaming for tomorrow's race as well. So if you are enjoying the commentary, then be sure to tune in for tomorrow's race. All right. What else is going on the circuit? All right. So we have got, by the looks of it, everyone has set 1 lap time apart from Norris, Ocon, and Gasly. So they're on their flying laps now. Norris, Ocon, and Gasly, all 3 of them, now making their way through the middle sector. But apart from that, everyone else has set their lap time. Looks like Tsunoda, De Vries, probably going to be eliminated. It depends on what Ocon and Gasly can do, but Tsunoda crosses the line up into 10th place, just marginally faster than K-Mag. But still 7 tenths faster than Nick De Vries. I mean, the gap between 10th and 12th is 7 tenths of a second, which is pretty significant. And both between the AlphaTauri drivers, we've got Tsunoda 7 tenths ahead of Nick De Vries. Nick De Vries, fairly experienced driver in terms of like racing experience, not particularly Formula 1 experience, but nevertheless, doing a pretty decent job. 7 tenths behind Yuki's, well, not that great, sorry. He's 7 tenths behind Yuki Tsunoda. So we'll see how he does. Of course, this is a street circuit, which I don't think he's raced on before. So yeah, you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. It is his first year in Formula One. All right, so let's see now. Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly cross the line. They go. Ocon's up into 8th place of 1 minute 18.0, and Gasly into 12th place of 1 minute 18.5. So yeah, Ocon 5 positions ahead of Pierre Gasly and 5/10 ahead of him as well. So we'll see if Gasly. They have 5 minutes left on the clock, so those teams should be able to get back into the pits just in time to refuel and put on a fresh set of tires to try again to make it through. But it's going to be, yeah, it's getting pretty close. And also, just looking at this again, we've got Alonso out on a used set, Russell out on a used set. Same can be said for Sainz, Hamilton. They're both out on used sets. It's very, very strange here. We're seeing drivers going out on used sets of tires, trying to use them to make it through. But yeah, well, it's a different conditions to what they're expecting, so I suspect they're just trying out different strategies, and this one's working the best. So if it's working, you might as well stick with it. What else is there to say? All right, Lando Norris currently in 15th place. It looks like his lap time got deleted. I'm not sure exactly which corner his lap time got deleted at, but he did get a lap time deleted. So he is back down into 15th place. We'll see what he can do. Yeah. George Russell improves his lap time, puts himself up into 4th position. Thank you for pointing that out, Gladiator. Yeah, I completely missed that. But yeah, George Russell up into now 4th place, doing a pretty solid job there. I suspect that there is track evolution now, because the Mercedes drivers are in 7th and 8th, and now he's set another lap time. He's up into 4th. So yeah, anonymous channel. I'm reading a lot of, like, you've been typing Crimelton and Fraud Stappen and all of that stuff. Like, I would very much appreciate it if you could just like type Verstappen or Hamilton or whatever. Like, just don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna ban you, but it's just a little bit of a warning. Just like, don't. There's no need really to be saying all of those different names. It's a bit pointless, to be honest. Right, we got Verstappen, Russell. Russell's actually coming in from an in lap, I think. Oh no, Russell seems to have enough fuel to do another lap. It looks like the Mercedes team just put in some extra fuel into the car, and the drivers are going to go around twice. All right, we got Alex Albon. Another purple in the middle sector, as JKS points out. Yeah, let's have a quick look at the top speeds. In fact, what top speeds these drivers are hitting. So top speeds: Alex Albon 325 kilometers an hour, Max Verstappen 327, but everyone in the range of the 320s, apart from the Alphas, which are in the 319s. So yeah, Alfa Romeo seem to have a draggy car, because they do have the same Ferrari engine, so they should be going at a fairly quick pace down the straights. But their car's just draggy, I'm guessing. So that's what's causing their lack of top speed. Oh, Lando Norris got his lap time deleted at turn number 11. He just went all over the curb and went past the white line on, like, yeah, all 4 wheels past the white line, and that is why he got his lap time deleted. But yeah, he set another one, and he's now in 12th place. All right then, so we got Max Verstappen, 2 green sectors, making his way through now, navigating through some traffic as well. Ocon, well, I suspect he got out of the way just in time. Otherwise, Verstappen would be going fairly slowly at this point. And here he goes now, coming out the final corner, opens the DRS, barrels his way down the straight in 8th gear, crosses the line now, and 1 minute 17.0, goes 0.2 faster than Fernando Alonso. And yeah, very quick indeed. I don't know what else there is to say. He improves on his previous lap time by 0.2. Fernando Alonso improved on his previous attempt by 0.3, I think, and is now only 0.2 behind Verstappen. But it is Yeah, very, very close indeed. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Russell on a new set of tires. So is Hamilton. Both of those drivers on 7-lap-old tires. Nevertheless, they're still lapping at fairly decent lap times. It's nothing. So I suspect tires aren't wearing out as fast as expected. Of course, when you are at lower temperatures, tire wear is less significant. So that is, I guess that makes sense. All right, then we've got 40 seconds left on the clock now. And the drivers all now just coming around the third sector. There's a pretty big queue, as you guys can see, at the third sector, and the drivers just making their way through. Yeah, making their way through to the start finish line, and I will take you through one of their laps. So let's have a quick look. We've got let's follow. How about we follow we'll follow Hamilton's lap, in fact. Right, so here he goes through the middle sector, through the turn number 3, sorry, where Sergio Perez locked up, makes his way through nicely through there. Turn number 4 as well, being careful not to go over the curbs because they very much just cause you to spin straight away. And then now through turn number 6, nicely done. I mean, now it's just a flat out straight through the middle sector. Not much to worry about there. No, I think there is DRS at that point in the circuit. Yeah, there is DRS as Hamilton does activate it. And now going through into turn number 9 and 10, the 2 high-speed corners on the circuit, just a flick left, flick right. Nicely done there from Lewis Hamilton. And now through into the last little tight twisty section of the circuit, turn number 12. He's got to be careful there not to extend track limits like Lando Norris did, and he does not. And now through into turn number 13, and yeah, just navigating his way through very nicely. Nothing out of the ordinary there from Lewis Hamilton, and now he comes across the line in 6th position, and in fact they're exactly where they aimed for. Well, they were until Leclerc set his lap time, but Mercedes were aiming for 5th position, and they're in 6th and 7th, so fairly decent. I don't know how Hülkenberg is still up in 5th place. He is just absolutely like a madman or something. I don't know how he's done that, but he is yeah, amazing. And then we had the 2 Ferraris in 3rd and 4th. We got Fernando Alonso still in 2nd place. Stroll, Stroll 2.5 tenths behind Fernando Alonso, and this is what we saw on the first run of Q2. Stroll and Alonso were very close to each other, but now Alonso did another run. I think both of the drivers did another run, but Alonso improved by 1/4 of a second. So yeah, Alonso still having a little bit more pace to give compared to Lance Stroll, and Alonso's up in 2nd, Stroll's in 9th. Albon just scrapes through on his lap, makes his way through into Q3, and then we have Ocon has been eliminated. So has Tsunoda, Norris, Magnussen, and De Vries. So yeah, I mean, we've seen Yuki Tsunoda been getting his lap. Yuki Tsunoda and De Vries both been eliminated in Q2 before this season, and I suspect that's where their car really is at. They're making it through out of Q1, but not making it through into Q3. Sorry. Hülkenberg was on 2-lap-old tires. Hamilton and Russell on 9-lap-old. Fair enough. That does explain it. Yeah, I definitely did miss that. Of course, yeah, the Mercedes, they were doing a couple of laps. The team just put in a whole bunch of fuel into the car and then just sent them out and was like, do a lap, then cool down, and then do another lap. So it makes sense that they did that because you don't want to lose tire temperature. And now the Mercedes team have, I think, 2 sets of tires for Q3 now, which will be, well, helpful to say the least. So there we go. All right. Okie dokie. And now we're into Q3. We're only going to have 10 cars on the grid, so that's going to mean even less like issues in terms of traffic, which will be great for all of the drivers on the circuit. All right. Let's see. We've got 1,600 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I very much do appreciate your support. And if you are enjoying the stream, then be sure to hit the like button and just subscribe. Really does help out the channel. And I will be commentating for the race tomorrow. So yeah, if you're enjoying, then be sure to tune into tomorrow's race as well, tomorrow's stream. So there we go. Okie dokie. Right. So getting back onto the, if there's one track that you can make a full calendar of, what would it be? Well, I think, to be honest, making one track like an entire calendar, it would be pretty boring. But I would say my favorite circuit is Suzuka, so make of that what you will. And yeah. Compare Ocon to Gasly, not Albon. Well, yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you compare Ocon to Gasly, then Gasly made it through, Ocon hasn't. And Gasly's the new driver at Alpine, and Ocon's the old established driver. So a little bit of an upset to the little like team dynamic there at Alpine, but yeah, nevertheless, I mean, that's what you're expecting when you bring on a good driver like Pierre Gasly. You're expecting a little bit of an upset here and there. So we'll see how that goes at the Alpine team. Of course, the two drivers don't particularly like each other. They have a little bit of history between Gasly and Ocon. Both of them being French, though, driving for a French team. It looks good branding. Yeah. Also, yeah, the Hockenheim ring is a brilliant circuit. Yeah, I very much also like Hockenheim as well. Yeah, Vettel's still at my heart. Yeah, I mean, I was playing the F1 game yesterday. In fact, I didn't drive Suzuka. I was driving like Australia and Austria in the wet conditions. But yeah, Suzuka. The reason I don't play Suzuka in the F1 games is because you touch the curbs, you spin, which is very annoying. But I suspect it's like fairly similar to real life. But yeah, also nice to see Miguel Fernandez still watching, because I remember like back in like it must have been 2021 that you've still been watching, so like 2 full years now. Pretty incredible. Also, just a quick update, Q3 is starting in 1 minute and 50 seconds. Oh, 1 minute and 30 seconds, sorry. So yeah, not long now. All right. Verstappen won't be setting a 1 minute 16.9. I think it'll be much closer to 1 minute 15.9, to be honest. The drives. Oh no, 1 minute 16.9. That might. I forgot what lap times they were setting, to be honest. Yeah, I think they're already into the 1 minute 16s. In fact, I will just double check what lap times they have been setting, because yeah, that's definitely going to help out, isn't it? So if we just have a quick look at the Q2 lap times. Oh, it doesn't tell me. Well, that's not ideal, because they've just been deleted off the system. All right, his Q2 was a 117.0. Oh, okay, right. 116.9 it is then, yeah. I thought they were in the 116s already. Why do people hate Miami? Is it fixable? Well, I think Miami is it's a new circuit, and it's once again another street circuit. It's very wide at some parts, but then narrow at some parts. I think it's like a half street circuit, half circuit. It's a little bit strange, to be honest. And I think they're hating on the circuit. I'm not particularly sure why they're hating on it. We've only had like one race there, so you can't really say much about the racing, to be honest. If Albon does 52 laps on hards, well, I wouldn't put it past him. Albon did do that last year. I think he did like 45, 40, 46 laps or something on hard tires. It was absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. But yeah, the amount of time management that he did and still made it through on one stop was incredible. All right, Q3 has begun. The time is ticking down. No drivers still out onto the circuit. They're all waiting for each other. In fact, as I say that, Verstappen's are out onto the track. And yeah. what happened to Perez? Perez locked up at turn number 3, and then went straight on into the gravel, and that is why he's out, because he got stuck in the gravel and his car couldn't be recovered in time for the session. All right, that's what happened to Sergio Perez. Got stuck in the gravel and his car couldn't be recovered in time to set a quali lap. Yeah, no worries, Soldier Matt. All right. So drivers now just making their way through. We'll see who's doing a warm-up-esque lap and who's doing like a proper full send lap. Usually we've seen the Ferraris go for warm-up laps. Same for the Mercedes drivers. I think Fernando Alonso has gone full attack right from the start, but maybe they're going for a different strategy now because, yeah, well, they've seen that the other teams are doing double warm-ups and it's definitely helping them. So you might as well try. And yeah. Yeah, I would definitely love to see a race at Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is a very nice circuit. Seeing a race there would be pretty nice. But of course, I mean, there are so many circuits that we should have races for. Maybe F1 should operate on a 2-year basis calendar. They should have a couple of races that are on like every single year, and then a couple of races that are on like every 2 years or something. Like I think at Hockenheim and Nürburgring, they switched. They were like one race at Hockenheim and then one race at Nürburgring. That's a pretty good strategy. If they could do that, like say, yeah, because there are so many races in the US, right? So many circuits that they could race at. They could do that, and they could have like a race every 2 years, and that would still be brilliant. So yeah, Max Verstappen going from a push right from the outset, by the looks of it, and yeah, Fernando Alonso and the rest of the drivers going from a double warm up. But Max Verstappen crossed the line 1 minute 17.5, so does not improve on his Q2 lap time. Doesn't go significantly quicker. So yeah, definitely not down into 1 minute 16s. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Yeah, I mean, the Indian Grand Prix, of course, Vettel won all 4 of the Indian Grand Prix that happened, so it would be, yeah, it would be great that Vettel just comes back when the Indian Grand Prix comes back and then carries on getting wins. That would be brilliant. But yeah, there definitely needs to be a little bit more, I'd say, diversity in the F1 calendar, because the race in Australia is actually the only one in the Oceania region. I guess I think Japan counts as Asia, right? So in the Oceania region, the only circuit, the only race that happens for Formula One is in Australia. So maybe a race in New Zealand or Malaysia. So yeah, we'll have to. Well, thing is, we're not in charge of it, and it's really the money that goes around that decides who goes racing where. As we can see, because we've had races in Saudi Arabia where there isn't much for sport for racing following, but you know, we'll see. Singapore, indeed, Kailami as well in South Africa, because there isn't a single race in Africa, so they should definitely try and fix that. But yeah, Malaysia is actually in Asia, so never mind. But anyway, let's get back to qualifying, because that's what you guys are here for. We've got 7 minutes left on the clock for qualifying, and we've got Fernando Alonso 3 tenths ahead of Max Verstappen. We got the 2 Ferraris ahead of Max Verstappen. So I think that just confirms, guys, that the double warm-up is the superior strategy here, because Verstappen went for a full send push right out the gates. And he is slower than the Ferraris, the Mercedes, and the Aston Martin. So it's safe to say a double warm-up is the way forward. So yeah, Verstappen will be making his way into the pits now to, well, yeah, refuel and put on a fresh set of tyres and do a double warm-up next time. Let's see, Stroll now just driving down the start finish straight. We'll see what he can do. Perez has been eliminated. In fact, I think my thing is slightly blocking. It's slightly blocking that little bit of text at the bottom there. But yeah, Perez is out of the session. He binned it in Q1, so that is why he's not in Q3. All right, Alex Albon once again purple in the middle sector. I don't know how he keeps doing it. It could just goes slightly faster than the Red Bulls through that middle sector. And Verstappen now crosses the line, goes 9 milliseconds faster than Lewis Hamilton. So, yeah, some serious pace there from the Red Bull. He did that on a used set of tyres, whereas Hamilton and Russell did that on a fresh set. So, yeah, Red Bull still got a fair amount of pace still yet to show, but it is looking extremely close, a lot closer than it would have been if Verstappen just did a double warm-up from the start. Nevertheless, though, we have got 5 minutes left of Q3, and the drivers will be making their way back to the pits now, or already in the pits, just refueling those cars, putting on a fresh set of tyres, and we will be seeing the final runs of Q3 for the top 10 shootout. All right. Why is the map different than before? I've changed the map because FOM has been banning streams. It's completely unrelated. I will probably change it back next weekend, like the next race, I think, which is in Baku. I'll change it back. But yeah, that's the only reason, really. So there we go. All right. So looking at this, we have got the Aston Martin. It's been changing around so much. Like we saw in Q1 that what we have now, we saw the Aston Martins and Mercedes are similar on pace and Ferrari are behind. In Q2, we saw the Aston Martins, then the Ferraris, and the Mercs. So it has been very confusing as to who is the quickest car. And in fact, looking at all of the timings as well, I mean, the gap between Hamilton and Russell is what, like less than a tenth of a second, probably around half a tenth of a second. The gap between Hamilton and Leclerc is 0.3 of a second. Hamilton and Sainz 1.5 tenths. Like it's so close. One like good exit, one better entry into a corner, and that can dictate your entire lap basically. So. Also, Max Verstappen having a little bit of issues here with his gearbox once again. The downshifts, he's having some sort of issues with the downshifts. Yeah, that's one thing to watch out for. He currently does hold the fastest time, but I suspect with track improvement, he's going to have to improve on that because, yeah, well, track improvement, Hamilton is only 9 milliseconds behind him. So if even a tiny little bit of track improvement occurs, Verstappen will lose his first place spot. And yeah, Verstappen is struggling with the downshifts, and the issues with the downshifts is when you are braking, you're getting some of your braking, like actual slowing down, is coming from the actual brakes on the car itself, but then also when you downshift, your engine does like quote unquote engine braking, and it slows the car down as well by like creating a resistive force on the tires. So when you have issues with downshifts, your engine braking is going to be worse than usual. So we'll see how Verstappen manages that. But going through turn number 9 and 10, like the high-speed corner where Albon is just driving through now, those two high-speed corners, engine braking is pretty key. Like it's a very important part of getting through that circuit, that part of the circuit, like quickly. So we'll see how Verstappen does, and if he can, well, improve. Of course, we know the Red Bull is a very fast car, and if any driver is going to do it, it will be Max Verstappen. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, 2 minutes left on the clock. All the drivers now coming out onto the circuit. They'll be setting their first lap times, which will be in the range of 1 minute 20, 1 minute 30 or something, and then they will go out and set a proper lap time. But now everyone here is out on a fresh set of tyres, apart from Lance Stroll, who's in fact coming into the pits. And then we got Gasly, Albon, yet to set a lap. And Nico Hülkenberg, who was doing admittedly absolutely fantastic in Q2, is now down in 10th place. He hasn't set a representative lap time yet, but nevertheless, it's still not ideal there from Nico Hülkenberg, being down in 10th place when he was doing so well before. Conditions on the track: 15-degree air temperature, 22-degree track temperature, completely dry, cloudy weather, and lots of sparks flying because the drivers have set that, well, the teams have set the cars pretty low to the ground. So here they go then. Starting their flying laps, we got Max Verstappen purple through the first sector, coming now towards the second sector line, green through there, and now through turn number 9 and 10, where the engine braking is pretty key. We'll see what his third sector time looks like, but he's got still a fair amount of track left to improve on. Now through into turn number 12, does not exceed track limits like Lando Norris did on that previous occasion, and goes through there very nicely indeed. Now through into turn number 13, one of the trickiest corners on the circuit, and then just makes his way out of the final corner, opens the DRS, full foot flat to the floor, crosses the line, and improves by half a second, even with issues on his downshifts. And yeah, he's just gone half a second faster into the 116.7. That is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how he's done that, but he has. So, well, props to Max Verstappen. Tyler has now just hit 0. Stroll has already crossed the line. Yeah, Stroll up into 5th place. Alonso starting his flying lap. Alonso's just finished his flying lap into 2nd place. We got Sainz in 3rd place. Russell crosses the line, puts himself up into 2nd, only 2 tenths behind Max Verstappen. Hamilton up into 3rd place, only 4 tenths. It's not 4 tenths, it is 4 tenths, sorry, it's not only 4 tenths, but nevertheless, I mean, yeah, that is some serious pace and some serious improvement from the Mercedes drivers, and yeah, that's great, because they did bring a couple of upgrades here, so they are now faster than the Aston Martins, I'd have to say. And looking at the rest of the drivers, they have all crossed the line, and we have had our top 10. So our top 10 is Max Verstappen, then we have George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, and Nico Hülkenberg. Mercedes have just pulled it out of nowhere. I have no idea where they've got that from, but yeah, Dancing Girl has just suggested Mercedes drank some Red Bull for breakfast. It seems like they did, because they have pulled that pace out of absolutely nowhere in the practice sessions. All of the practice data and the quali sims and everything, it was like, oh yeah, Mercedes probably 5th fastest, maybe 6th, 7th, something like that, and here they come 2nd and 3rd. Absolutely just blew Fernando Alonso out of the water. Maybe that is quali pace, but yeah, we're still yet to see how that goes for them, because of course you can have your setup a little bit more tuned towards qualifying compared to the race. Maybe they're going to have a little bit of maybe they're going to have struggle in race conditions with excessive tire wear, but we'll have to wait and see. But everyone that has tuned into the stream, thank you very, very much. I very much do appreciate all your support. I am streaming for tomorrow's race. And in fact, when I end this stream, it'll take you over to tomorrow's stream. So if you could hit the like button on tomorrow's stream, that will really help out. Well, yeah, tomorrow's stream and the channel and the stream in general. But yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys, and reading all your messages in chat and stuff. Very much do appreciate all of the support. And yeah, thank you JKS for subscribing. Your thing's just popped up on the screen now. But yeah, everyone that has tuned in, very much is appreciated. I will see you guys tomorrow for the race. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you tomorrow. So just, yeah, remember to, it'll take you over to tomorrow's stream. Just hit the like button. That will really help out the channel. But apart from that, well, there isn't much else to say. Cheers, fellas.